So I'm over here at Napa just to grab some stuff, and this guy pulls up in a freaking DeLorean. You definitely don't see these things every day.
It's a 1983. It's one of the last 500 left. So from what I understand, all the managers were putting the cars together because they'd fired everybody prior to that. The car's got 30,000 original miles. It's one of those cars that wherever you go, people find that they're enjoying it. Just to look at it. Of course, the body's all stainless steel. The engine's a Volvo V6. And the doors, they're one of the most unusual parts besides the stainless steel.
Yeah, that is wild. I've never actually seen a DeLorean in person, and this one is like in immaculate condition. Yeah. Only 30,000 miles, you said.
Yeah.
How long have you owned this one?
I bought it new back in 1983.
Oh, so you're the original owner?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do not see these every day, if at all.
Yeah. No, they're a lot of fun, and they're a good conversation piece. If you like to talk with people, buy a DeLorean. They all go, is that a Lamborghini? Well, if that was a Lamborghini, I would have sold it by now for sure. I bought it for $18,500 back in 1983, and it was just recently appraised at $85,000.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice little return on your investment there.
Exactly.
I'm sure you plan on hanging on to it for...
Yeah, I'm going to give it to my son.
Okay.
I've been telling him since he was a little boy that, you know, it's yours. Or no, I can't take it with me when I go.
Dude, that is so cool. I appreciate you telling me a little bit about this thing.
It was a pleasure talking with you, and see you again. I'm going to run.
Sounds good, man.
Take care.
That thing is so freaking cool. Not every day you see a DeLorean driving down the road. I wonder what happens when he hits 88 miles an hour. Okay, guys, the chickens are getting way too comfortable being in our yard. I have never seen them come this far onto our property. They are basically ready to go take a dip into our pool.
Oh, dude, he just shit on our
Did he just poop? Dude,
really, bro? Pick it up.
this rooster just came here and just laid a hot steamer on our walkway. Dude, what are you guys doing? This isn't... Dude, they are way too far onto our property right now. First it was our grass, and now you guys are coming over here pooping on our yard. All right, come on, chickens. Come on. Scaring them off. Get out of here. Dude, unbelievable. Yeah, you too, come on. I wanted to ask you guys about the 240 real quick. This thing's been sitting for a couple months now. We haven't done anything with the car since we did a burnout at the last Cletus in Cars, and she did pretty good, except we did have a noise starting to come from the clutch, so it doesn't like to go into gear very well right now, and also the shifter broke off, which kind of caused me to stop mid burnout, which sucked. But other than that, the twin turbo J series setup in this thing has been a trooper. As you guys have seen, we have put this thing on rev limiter for several minutes at a time, popping and banging, and this engine has not skipped a beat. So I am very impressed with the J series in the 240 here. But what I wanted to ask is what you guys think we should do with the car at this point. So my plans with the car is there's another Cletus in Cars coming up, and I want to address the clutch situation, get it fixed up, and do one more Cletus in Cars, do a burnout with it, you know, just like how we normally do. But the issue with the 240 is that the steering rack setup was never, you know, figured out. And as far as driving the car like normal, or, you know, if we wanted to try to drift it or anything like that, it's just not going to happen with the way the steering is set up on the car. If you guys followed along when we did it, we just didn't have clearance for the rack going under the pan because of where the starter needed to be with the adapter plate. And there is actually someone else doing a J-Swap 240 right now, and they were able to squeeze the starter up into the pan after some modifications and have the factory steering rack clear. But it's a very tight fit, and if the starter went out or if you had to pull the pan or anything like that, it's pretty much the whole motor has to come out to service it, which, you know, I wouldn't be too stoked about. We could still try that route, but basically what I'm saying is I think we're going to try to change the setup in the 240 at some point, and I wanted to ask you guys what you think we should do. We've been talking about a possible LS swap in the car, just all motor, simple, and we can put all of the factory steering back into it and just have a fun beater that we can take out whenever, go practice drifting, drive it around, and all of that. So that is an option that we are kind of leaning towards, and the LS would be a little something different, even though we also have the tube chassis Civic that we plan on doing an LS in as well back in Colorado. I know another option people are probably going to comment is a 2J, which that would also be really cool, but I think the cost of a 2J would be quite a bit higher than an LS, and I think just an all motor setup for like learning how to drift and stuff would be the best option right now. But that's why I'm kind of asking you guys. I love the setup in the 240, but unfortunately it's just not practical for what we wanted to do with the car. We wanted to do more than just, you know, a couple burnout competitions. And I did also have a couple ideas on what we could do with this J series if we did pull it out of this car. You know, I'm not really 100% sure of what we could do with it, but I do have a couple ideas. So Wyatt's over here getting ready to weld up some tie rods for the old race truck here.
Race truck, man. Some beefy boys.
Yeah, dude, these things are thick.
Yeah, they're ridiculously big, but they'll help us hopefully do some four-wheel drive burnouts without breaking. They're 1.5" DOM tubing, 3/4 inch heims, and some very big clevises to go to the rack.
Yeah, he just got those all kind of fabbed together the other night. Now he's gonna get them all welded up.
Yep, one step closer to getting this thing done. Hopefully really soon we'll have like completed steering in the truck, which would be really nice because turning this thing is a real pain.
Yeah, no, that'd be sweet. Those are some beefy boys. Don't think you should have any problems with those because I know the stock Duramax tie rods,
yeah,
you gotta upgrade them.
Yeah, they're
4x4 launches.
Right. Everybody knows the Duramax shuffle. The front tires just touching each other or trying to. But yeah, hopefully this will alleviate our problems. And since we did the rack and pinion conversion on the truck, we had to do something custom anyways. So should be plenty stout for what we're trying to accomplish.
Oh yeah, get those puppies welded up.
Yep, weld them up, get them back on the truck, and one more thing off the to-do list.
So I just got these tie rods all welded out and back onto the truck. And those are looking good.
Some freaking units there, buddy.
Thick boys, those should hold a 4x4 launch and the burnouts you want.
Yep, hopefully.
You want to explain a little bit how you did this steering rack conversion? Because this is a Dodge one, correct?
Yeah, so this rack and pinion is actually out of, I think it's like an 04 to 12 Ram 2-wheel drive with independent front suspension. It's a pretty common upgrade for guys that are drag racing because you actually lose quite a bit of weight getting rid of the conventional steering that comes on these trucks, and the rack and pinion is just a little bit better setup overall. So did the conversion there, just cut out the front cross member, made it easier to mount that to it, and yeah, now it's just parting it all together, making the rest of it work with it. So,
yeah, that looks way better than what was in it before. So yeah, he said he had to cut out this middle section right here. He welded some plates on both ends of that, and then he got this bar welded in between there, and then his new rack goes off of that.
Like what actually happens with this stock style steering on these trucks is, since these are offset like this to get you correct tie rod angles out to the knuckles, you'll actually take and bend these things. So since you're putting a lot of leverage right here, when you guys 4x launch on these, you'll actually bend this right in the middle and turn it into a big old smiley face.
Or a frowny face, whichever way you look at it.
They do make straight center links, but you know, I just wanted to get rid of all that. You actually save like probably 20-30 pounds getting rid of all that stuff, and just a lot less convoluted setup going with the rack and pinion.
Yeah, so that was what was on there from factory. Took all of that off, and now he got this nice clean rack and pinion setup. And with those new tie rods on there, that came out really good. So the steering is pretty much complete. Get the column and stuff figured out.
So like getting the column and stuff figured out too. So
and then your pump, you got to show them.
Yeah, so to go with the steering, we've got our Motion Raceworks steering column. This is kind of the idea for the steering shaft. So just kind of a double U-joint to a single up on the firewall. And then we're gonna play around with the idea. I'm not sure this is gonna work the best, but I've talked to a couple people, they say it works okay. But I've also heard from others on big rack and pinions like this, that this pump's not enough. So this is a Volvo electric power steering pump. Came in tons of Volvos from like 06 to 12 again. And we're gonna give that a shot, see if it works. I really don't think it's gonna make enough pressure and flow enough for the rack and pinion and the Hydro Boost setup for the brakes. But we're gonna try it for now because it would save a lot of extra work if it does end up doing the job. But
and if not, you're gonna have to upgrade that guy.
Yeah, we'll go back to a conventional mechanical pump for the power steering. It just saves me a lot of room with belt routing and everything, because on a stock Duramax, the power steering pump is over here, and then you have your AC compressor, your alternator, a couple of idler pulleys over here, and then the whole system works fine. But for me, I actually can't run those accessories up here because they are too tall. The goal with the truck was to get it as low as I could. So with doing so, running those accessories would actually be sticking through the hood. So gonna try and get away from that. Hopefully that power steering pump works. If not, go back to the drawing board, figure something else out, make it work. But
well, it's looking great so far.
It's getting there.
You can get that steering wheel on there so we can actually turn it when we have to push this thing around and we're not kicking the tires.
Yeah, I don't know how much steering you're gonna be doing without power assist,
yeah,
even with the wheel in there.
This thing is a big girl.
Yeah.
That no power steering.
I'm gonna say,
let's just get it running.
Yeah, we just need to get it running and then we'll be done. So the one nice thing with like the electric power steering is then, you know, you blow up the engine, you can still turn that pump on and steer it
that would
back.
be nice.
So we'll see. Like I said, I'm crossing my fingers that works good, but I really don't know. So
as you guys saw, we got the MR2 back together, got the sequential transmission rebuilt and back into the car. So this thing is just about ready to go back to the track for some more testing. And the goal is to back up our 7-second pass and not only just go a 7 again, but we're hoping we can better our time and push ourselves to go even faster with the car, because we know there's still a lot of potential to knock a couple tenths off of that 7-second pass. So we're actually making a couple changes to the car before we take it out to the track again. And one of those changes I'm doing right now is the coilovers. So right now, the MR2 just has an off-the-shelf set of BC Racing coilovers, and these things worked great. They did what they needed to do. We ran our 7-second pass on them, but these things were not set up for the specific use for drag racing. Like I said, they were just off the shelf, so we had no custom valving done in the coilovers, no custom spring rates or anything like that. We just, you know, got the off-the-shelf units, slapped them in, and they did work great. But it is time to change that, because we think we have some improvements to make, especially in the launch, and that's where these guys come in. So we got some custom drag rated coilovers in for the MR2. These were set up to be a drag spec coilover. These were made by our friend Bob Pham. He is out in California and he road courses MR2s like crazy. The dude has a whole bunch of MR2s. He probably owns the most MR2s out of any guy out there, and he's very knowledgeable with the suspension and how it all works, and specifically the suspension on these exact cars. He reached out to us to make a custom set of drag spec coilovers for our MR2, and that's where these guys come in. We got a couple differences between these and the current ones on the car. We went with a slightly different spring rate, but the main difference is that these have some custom valving done to allow us to slow the rebound of the shock down quite a bit, and that is very important for us when we try to launch the car, because we're going for some consistent, smooth launches in the MR2 here, and controlling the rebound is really important, especially when trying to get, you know, proper weight transfer and stuff like that. What would be ideal is a true double adjustable coilover that would allow you to adjust the compression and rebound individually. These are kind of a 2-in-1. When you adjust this knob on top, it adjusts the compression and rebound speed kind of together. And what that is when the car squats, that is compression, because the coilover is compressing, and then as it comes back up, that is the rebound. And controlling that speed of how fast that weight can actually squat down or lift back up is very important. And Bob said that he is working on a double adjustable coilover for the MR2, which he's hoping to have out by the end of the year. And once that is available, we will be switching over to that, and then we'll have full control of the adjustability on our coilover, because the suspension tuning on a drag car is very important to get everything to work properly. And then also having some slower rebound on the front of the car might help us quite a bit as well, because if you're familiar with guys that drag race, especially muscle cars where the front end wants to come up a lot on the launch, a lot of guys use limiting straps so that the shock isn't actually trying to lift the weight of the front of the car up. It actually helps keep the nose planted. So slowing the rebound down on the front of the car kind of acts the same way. Even though we don't have too much wheel travel on the front of the MR2 here, there is some. So slowing the rebound down in the front of the car will help us out as well and help keep the nose planted. And we're just really going for some more consistent, smooth launches, and having the adjustability and the custom valving should help us do that quite a bit. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get these guys installed. All right, just got the rear coilovers on. Excited to put these to the test and see if we can better our 60 foot. And while we are here at the back of the car, I still have to do the front coilovers, but we have one more upgrade, and that is these rear toe adjustment arms. So these are the factory arms. They are pretty thin, and I've always been worried about these bending or something under a heavy launch, because I'm sure these things see a good amount of stress when we launch the car, and they really don't have too much meat to them. So we are going to be replacing those with some upgraded ones, because this box just showed up today, and these are from Hux Racing. They left us a nice little note in there. Let's go, Boosted Boys. Thank you, Eric and Renee. They also threw a whole bunch of snacks in there as well, like they always do, and a couple shirts. But underneath all of the goodies, this is what we are looking at right here. So these are some upgraded toe arm units, and we are going to be replacing the stock ones with those guys, and those are going to be a lot beefier, and we'll have some more peace of mind running those. And we're also going to need to get the car realigned after we do all this, because that will throw our adjustment out of whack. So I'm going to go ahead and get those guys slapped on, and we will be all done at the rear of the car, and we can go ahead and get the front coils on, and she's good to go. All right, check it out. Just got the new rear adjustable toe arms on the MR2 here. Well, I mean, I guess the OEM ones are also adjustable, but these guys are nice and beefy, so we don't have to worry about those guys bending or breaking or anything like that. I actually pulled these off after I did that time lapse and just made them match the same lengths as the OEM ones that came off, just to get the alignment as straight as we could. But I did go ahead and leave everything loose under here because we did a lot of changes to the suspension and stuff like that. So things are gonna move around. And like I said, we are gonna be going back to the alignment shop to make sure everything is straight and ready to go. Because if your alignment isn't on point, especially on a drag car, there's a couple tenths to be made in a good alignment. If you have a crappy alignment, it's gonna slow the car down because, you know, stuff is fighting each other. So we want everything to be nice and straight. And then I also went ahead and got the front coilovers on as well. So those are set and ready to go. Once again, left some stuff straight because we might have to adjust the camber and things like that once we go to the alignment shop. And another thing I've seen you guys talk about in the comments is a lot of you are saying we need to upgrade from our stock brakes. And that is an upgrade I want to do because we still just are running the OEM brakes on the MR2. But the brakes aren't too big of a deal. Yes, if we upgraded to a nicer brake, we would probably get a little bit better stopping power. But since drag racing is for a very short period of time, the brakes don't really get too hot. I think, you know, brakes are a lot more important when you're on like a road course and they're under heavy constant use. On a drag car like this, we're really not needing any more braking power than we already have. The car slows down fine. So the only time we'd have an issue with these factory brakes is if we had a complete brake failure, which would, you know, not be good even if you had aftermarket brakes. So yes, we could upgrade the brakes and get a little more stopping power, but the stock ones do the job just fine. And especially with the parachute, that we need to fix this hole into the side that the exhaust has been burning. So don't look at that, but we also have the parachute to help slow us down. And we've had no issues slowing the MR2 down from 180 miles an hour. I've made 2 hits that have gone over 180 plus, and I'm confident that I didn't even need the parachute, but we are making it a routine to always pull the chute just, you know, for safety and practice. It is good to always have that chute pulled at the end of your pass. But I do want to upgrade the brakes regardless of all of that information in the future, because we can also cut some weight down, get some less rotating mass out of there, and it would be a better upgrade to do overall. But for right now, the OEM brakes will get us by. And yeah, that's about it for right now, guys. We also got some goodies going on that you haven't seen yet that we will probably get in the next couple days that I'm really excited about. So the MR2 is going to be staying just like this for a little bit, and we're gonna leave the wheels off of it because we got some stuff coming. She's gonna look sweet. Dang, you look good in there.
Vroom, vroom, going fast.
Well, I just got the seat kind of resting in there, getting ready to see where he needs to get that mounted. Yep. I know you were a little concerned about cab space after you got this all together. But you were worried that your feet didn't have enough room.
Yeah.
Because you're a pretty tall guy.
Yep. I guess I'm kind of blessed and cursed. I got short legs and a tall torso, so it kind of works.
That should work out pretty good.
Yeah.
It looks like you should have plenty of room there.
Right.
For your pedals and whatnot.
Not exactly going to be a comfortable daily driver, but you know, for
We're gonna have
drag
that
racing
sometimes.
and Rocky Mountain race weekend, it'll be all right.
So while I've been over working on the MR2, Wyatt has been over here getting some stuff done on the truck. It's just been kind of a average work day, but we figured we'd show you guys the turbo that Wyatt has going on to the diesel build here, because he's had it sitting for a while, and yeah, I've been waiting to show everybody the big ol' unit you got for this thing, because these need some big turbos to make that kind of power you're trying to make.
Like every engine, airflow is key. These things just love a ton of airflow.
So let's show them the turbo you got going for this thing.
This thing's a unit.
Go grab that puppy.
This is actually kind of small for diesel world stuff, but for us, this thing is an absolute unit.
Here, grab that thing and put it by your head.
Yeah.
So this has been sitting
bigger than my head.
It's been sitting on Wyatt's toolbox over here for a while. And this is by far the biggest turbo in the fleet. I mean, dude, that thing probably weighs like 50, 60 pounds. It's heavy.
It is not light.
Look at that.
Unit.
So what size is that thing?
This thing is a 91 millimeter turbo.
91 mil. Good for what, like 1500 horsepower, you said?
On spray, yeah. On fuel only, probably around 1200. And then we're going to spray the house down with some nitrous through this thing. So
good.
Should make quite a bit of power.
Turbo. Yeah, that is sweet. Where are you planning on putting it? You know, let's kind of hang that thing up in the bay.
Show them up there.
Because once Wyatt gets some of this fab stuff done that he's getting knocked out right now with the seat and stuff in the cab here, he's going to be moving on to the turbo kit pretty soon, just waiting on a couple final pieces to come in. But that's going to be the next step.
Yeah, I actually didn't want to do any of that yet because I've been dreading it. And the turbo stuff hadn't showed up yet, so I figured I'd get it done.
You just kind of had to get that out of the way.
So this thing's actually going to live like right up front here. Obviously it's going to be clocked differently, but I kind of wanted to do a front mount setup. A good friend of mine, Mark, talked me out of mounting it on the side of the engine, and should look pretty sick up here. The grill's pretty open on these trucks, so you're going to be able to see a whole bunch of this thing just right up front here.
Yeah,
Party in the front, business in the back. You know?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
So should be a freaking spicy unit, dude.
Get the turbo right up there, front and center. Because didn't you say you were going to originally go compounds with this?
Yeah, I was originally going to do compounds, then I considered doing triples, and then I just figured go single. I like the simplicity of it. So
yeah, just one big one and be done.
Yep, and I'm not trying to make a whole bunch of torque. That's where the compounds or triples really shine. Tons of torque, but I don't like torque because it blows things up, and I don't have the budget to fix this. So big single.
It's probably going to make quite a bit of torque
regardless.
So
yeah, definitely. So yeah.
Well, cool. Well,
I'll put this down. It's a little heavy.
Yeah. Well, there's the turbo going on the
unit.
The race truck build here. That is a big girl.
Bigger than the head.
Look at that. I mean, you know, the one on the minivan's like
housing size.
Dimensions. It's about the same, but capable power output and also the weight of that thing. That thing is just massive.
Unit. Big old T6
big old
housing. Big boy.
How you coming on that seat bracket? Looks like it's up in there.
Yep, it's just about done. I just got to do some final welding on it and make the 2 front tabs for the seat, and then this thing will be completely mounted. It's been a long time coming, dude. I honestly thought I'd never see the day the seat was actually in this truck.
Yeah, it looks good in there. So it looks like it just came off the back of the cage there. Got a bar that bent down, and then you drill some holes through the floor.
Yep.
Tie up into the cage itself.
Yep, so that all ties into the existing cage like you saw, and then the other one goes down to the transmission cross member and it will unbolt. So you can take the member out from underneath it, and pretty simple little setup. So should work pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, looks good in there.
Yeah, it's a tight fit, man. I really wish I would have made the firewall further forward because with that seat in there, she's a little tight, but it'll be fine.